Namaskar. Welcome to my channel. I am Naina Bhatnagar. In the yoga series, today I'm going to talk about a chart of a world known singer and a world famous strategist. So let's see from astrological perspective what were the planets, signs that made them successful. I'm taking a reference here from my new book, Signs and Houses Pillars of Prediction. If you understand the signs and the houses, your prediction will never go wrong. Each and every sign carries an in depth knowledge and many characteristics that you don't find anywhere. I have compiled them all and put them with examples so that you can study them and make a perfect prediction. The first chart belongs to a singer. Singers are very emotional and highly creative people. For emotions, the moon, and for creativity, the Venus must combine. They must relate, and this relationship will happen in the second house, the house of speech, the third house that indicates the quality of speech, and the fifth house that is the house of creativity. You will also see in the next chart how these yogas that are mentioned here unfolded. So the first chart belongs to K.L. Sehgal, Kundandal Sehgal. His voice is eternal. It was revered and idolized by the first generation of singers like Kishore Kumar, Mohammad Rafi, Lata Mangeshkar, and Mukesh, and they have even accepted him as their musical guru. So, looking at this chart from my book perspective, the signs and houses, the pillars of prediction. For a singer, the voice signs must be very active. There are three voice signs: Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. They are also known, or more or less known, as the air sign. Voice does not travel on its own, it cannot travel in vacuum. It needs air to carry it. Hence, the air signs become profound. Here you can see that the rising sign Aquarius is the air sign, voice sign, and it is on the ascendant with the ascendant Lord, making it a very powerful combination here. The Saturn aspects the third house, the quality of speech and the quality of voice. Here you can see that there are three planets: Mercury, Jupiter, and Venus. Together, these three create a combination called Saraswati Yoga, and this yoga gives the native artistic intelligence and refined expression. There is a touch of Saturn here, and let's not forget that his voice has a tinge of sadness in it, which made it unique. From the second perspective of the voice sign, you can see the moon, that is the planet of emotion, is also in the voice sign of Gemini. The third voice sign, Libra, is aspected by its own lord, that is Venus, sitting in the third house. There are some more yogas formed in this. One of them is Mercury and Venus yoga, and this yoga enhances musical skills and articulation. This combination is often seen in vocalist and lyricist. There is a third yoga being formed here, that is Budh and Guru yoga. The Mercury and Jupiter are conjunct, and this makes a person well versed in dance, song, and music. Apart from that, there is a Raj Yoga, which is a combination of fourth, fifth, and ninth, and there is a Shasha Yoga. The Shasha Yoga means that the Saturn has to be in Kendra, exalted, or in own sign. And here Saturn is in its own sign, Aquarius, in the ascendant, that is the Kendra. The yoga is a bit weak. And why it is weak? Because he didn't live very long and he is ascendant lord in combination with malefics. But to get the kind of world known recognition and talent that has outlived him, you can see that there's a combination of the first house and the 10th house. Saturn aspects Mars in the 10th house, and Mars aspects Saturn from the fourth aspect. So, this is another very powerful combination. Whenever there's a combination of first and 10th, especially in Kendra, the person will be well known. From timeline perspective, his singing timeline is more prominent from 1932 to 1947. And as you can see in the Vimshotri Dasha, he had part of Jupiter Dasha and he had part of Saturn Dasha. It was Jupiter Venus that is forming the yoga here that started in 1932 and Saturn Venus that ended in 1947. Interestingly, Venus is very strong here, both as an Antardasha lord in Jupiter and in Saturn. Jupiter is the gain house lord and the second lord, and Saturn is, of course, in the Lagna. He became famous in 1933. He started singing in 1932, but he became famous by Puran Bhagat, a song. Actually, here there were four bhajans, and you can see the timeline is from 1932 to 1935. Thereafter, his last song, which was Jab Dil Hi Toot Gaya, in Parvana in 1947, you can see he's running the dasha of Saturn and Venus. So his unique voice, a blend of baritone and soft tenor, set a benchmark for many singers who followed him, and the natal chart echoes the same. There is another combination of Mars and Moon happening in this natal chart, and you can see that the combination of 5th and 10th is the one that makes a person act. He also acted in some movies. So, this was a chart that spoke about the voice signs, their impact on a singer's chart, apart from the yogas that we studied. Let's look at the next chart. This chart belongs to Henry Kissinger, born as Heinz Alfred Kissinger. He was one of the most influential and controversial figures in modern international politics. He was also the 56th United States Secretary of State. This is a very, very important position. His chart is totally dominated by Saturn. Just like the previous chart, this chart is also almost ruled by Saturn. But there are other planets which make a person a strategist. The Capricorn sign is a long term master sign. A Capricornian is a very hardworking person. The sign is the one that goes on non stop working. The sign Virgo speaks of detail, practice, and is a strategist sign. The Scorpions are very intense, deep people, and their impact is of a psychological strategist on a person who's going to be a strategist. Aquarius, of course, is an air sign and is a visionary strategist. Because Aquarius is also a humanitarian sign. Aquarius is the benefactor of the society. That is why Aquarius is the 11th house and the gain house. Gemini is the fastest tactical thinker because without a quick thinking, when you are dealing with situations that call for, and most of situations call for a quick thinker, especially for people who are strategists and great communicators, the sign Gemini comes very handy. So, from study perspective, the sixth house that speaks for logic and structure, that is a 10th house, their combination creates a good strategist. As a planet, Rahu is very important because not only that Rahu is a thinker, he is very unconventional and he's a risk taker. Unconventional thinking is good because they also keep the person hidden, secretive, and other person, the opponent, is not able to judge them well. Buddhaditya Yoga is Sun Mercury conjunction, sharp intellect, leadership, decision making ability. Yes, it's a common yoga, but this is definite yoga in people of this kind of work. And the Saturn, because Saturn is a planet of patience, careful planning, deep thinking, and he thinks way far ahead. So the key traits of a strategic sign is the strong mercurial influence, that is intelligence and calculation. Of course, Saturn, which is discipline and patience. And the water sign is Scorpio, because Scorpions are emotionally deep seated, intelligent people, and they have a great psychological insight. So let's study his chart. So you can see that the rising sign is here Gemini, an air sign, a sign of quick thinking, adaptability, processes information fast, and adjusts strategy on the go. Gemini is a very fast, still thinker, and here the sign is in the first house. As you can see, the combination of first and sixth and tenth here. So, coming back to the logic and structure, the sixth house lord, the Scorpio, is the sixth house. The sixth house lord is in the ascendant, and Jupiter, that is speaking for the 10th house, here is aspecting Mars from the ninth aspect. So we can clearly see the combination of 1, 10, and 5 and 6. So 6 and 10 combination is happening. So one can see the influence of logic and structure on the native. That was the Gemini sign in the first house. The Capricorn has gone in the eighth house, and all strategists keep the strategy to themselves. They reveal it when time comes. Scorpio has fallen in the sixth house, and this is a strategist sign. And the Lagna Lord, the sixth Lord in the ascendant, indicates the person being also a very, very hardworking, and with the sign Scorpio, a deep thinker. The ninth house lord or the Aquarius lord is in the fourth house. If you go deeper, you will see that the ascendant placed planet Mars aspects the moon. Now, moon is with Saturn, so there is a combination of first house and fourth house, and Saturn is aspecting the 10th house. So, the first, fourth, and 10th are combining, and again, the Lagna Lord, the Lagna is being aspected by Jupiter, that is the 10th Lord. Let's start with the strategic planet Mercury. Some might think why the Mercury is in the 12th house. Let me remind the student and the watcher that Mercury is the fourth house lord here. Mr. Kissinger was born in Germany and he moved to America. Whenever a person moves to another country and leaves his house behind or his native birthplace behind, the fourth lord will and must connect with the 12th house. Hence, the Mercury is in the 12th house. His combination with the Sun is, of course, strong intelligence and calculation. The Saturn and Moon combination aspecting the 10th house speaks of structure, depth, and whenever Saturn is with Moon, he controls the vibrancy and the fluctuating nature of Moon, making him a very serious and determined person. All the thinkers, the people who meditate, and people who go in serious studies do have Saturn and Moon. Jupiter is a the Rahu influence is also important because Rahu here is in third house of communication, and Rahu is the strategic thinker with an unconventional risk taking approach. Also, as per the Vedic principles, the Rahu in the third house is well placed. There is a Sunfa yoga taking place in this chart, and that indicates that a planet other than the moon is placed second to the moon, and we can see that the Jupiter is placed second to the moon. This is Sunfa yoga. Mr. Kissinger stayed as the US Secretary of State from 1973 to 1977. One can see that the natal chart indicates the dasha of Saturn Mars in from 1973, and almost Saturn ends up with 1977, where he stayed as the US Secretary. So one can see the impact of Saturn, which is so strong on the 10th house. He also got a Nobel Prize in 1973. In 1973, October, he had running dasha of Saturn and Rahu. Saturn is in the fourth house, and Rahu, the strategist, is in the third house. He shared this Nobel Prize. So another planet here, another combination here is the Buddhadit Yoga, which we have already discussed, the Sun and Mercury. There's also a Raj Yoga happening, but he had a career beyond this from the Saturn time as well. Apart from that, he was a master strategist. He also became a prolific author, and this timeline is Mercury. Note that Mercury in the Dashamsha is in the Lagna of the D10, and he is in the Lagna. This makes Mercury Mahadasha a very strong dasha. And at that time, he mostly wrote on diplomacy, China, and the world order. His three works are widely studied in international relationship works. He published his last book at the age of 1999. That was Leadership: Six Studies in World Strategy. So his Mercury Dasha was equally strong, not it was strong in a different way, it gave him name and fame as an author. And of course, the Saturn Dasha resulted in giving him power, recognition, in making him one of the very powerful strategists in the world. I hope that you enjoyed studying these charts and this video added a value to your understanding. Thank you for watching. If you found it helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more content. You can buy my books from MLBD, Unlocking Time Prediction through Krishnamurti Paddhati, Samay ka Purvanuman Krishnamurti Paddhati ke anusar. It is the Hindi translation of the previously mentioned book. Second is Unlocking Love, Marriage, Divorce through Krishnamurti Paddhati. Another book is Signs and Houses, Pillars of Prediction. I referred this book in the beginning. And on tarot, the book Secret Bridge of Tarot and Astrology. And a fiction, Bricks. Thank you. Namaskar.